Hello, everyone. Welcome to ReCAP.
Hey.
How you doing?
I think we just did this on Tuesday night.
I think we did.
For like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
For a long time.
You did a great job.
Hey, you too, Roby. As always, you did great.
Thanks for having me on your show today.
Thanks, as always. I forgot my piece of paper that I was going to put up there.
You're just behind on everything
Forgot
today,
it.
aren't you?
So, yeah.
On purpose, yeah.
Yeah, I know. A little late, sorry.
Yep.
But it's okay.
All right.
Well, what's going on? You doing okay? Long week?
It's been a long week. But I think I'm rested. I got 2 nights of pretty good sleep after 3 nights of not very good sleep. So,
okay.
Yeah. You get back into the rhythm eventually. So
I know.
I have a good Capitol view this week with State Senator Clark Tucker and Bill Vickery. So really offering some more analysis from their perspectives, from the legislative perspective and from the kind of GOP strategist perspective. I think people should tune in and watch it. It's good. So
okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that.
Commentary.
Looking forward to seeing that. Anything stand out to you?
Our show will be better.
Oh,
so.
yeah, of course.
Did anything stand out to you? To me, the state, like in the state of Arkansas, I thought just, some of the incumbents that, withstood some pretty hard charging opponents, particularly in the state Senate. Thought that was a big one. I think it's not a huge deal, but it is an important deal that the Democrats took back a seat in the House over there in House District 70. I still think that is tenuous for them in the fall. So, I mean, I wouldn't let their foot off the gas if I'm them, and I think the Republicans could still win that one back. Secretary of State's race going to a runoff. That one's going to be, interesting because the turnout will be low, and who can motivate their voters to get back. That'll be a tough one.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about some of the big races like Senate, Governor, Congress individually. Those were all interesting too.
Yeah, I think locally a seat flip was pretty big in House District 70. All things considered, 2 ballots and all, so they got that one back. And then I think also continuing to watch what plays out also in Senate District 26 in the Franklin County area in November as well. See if the same result happens over there or not. So we'll see.
Yeah, but like Brian King survived a pretty strong challenge from Bobby Ballinger, and he's been King's been a very adamant opponent of the Franklin County Prison over there. So you kind of wanted to gauge how, someone running against him might play. It obviously was a strong enough hand for him to win pretty comfortably. And Ron Caldwell, who's been an opponent of the prison, also won re-election despite, I think, some pretty big efforts from maybe the governor's political machine, but certainly, some operative groups that were trying to unseat him. And I actually saw him on Thursday night at an event over in Prairie County, and he got up to speak in front of the group and told everybody not to believe negative things sometimes. So I think it's a really rough campaign for him. And but to his credit, he's been running nonstop for several months, and this is after the election. He still came probably at an hour and a half away from his home to come thank people that voted for him overwhelmingly. And that's kind of a sign of a good politician, that will go that extra mile and do those kinds of personal things. That's that's some commitment.
Yeah.
So,
good for him. And then we can move into some of the bigger races that we were keeping an eye on. We'll start with the governor. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders unopposed in the Republican primary, but the Democratic primary, there were 2 people, Supas, Cypress Mays, and then also State Senator Fred Love. Fred Love comes out on top in that one.
Yeah, and one of the things that Clark Tucker and Bill Vickery and I talk about on the show this week is the level of African American turnout and which typically votes Democratic. It was really noticeable in a lot of precincts that have heavy African American populations, and that's probably one of the reasons we see Fred Love getting that vote that he got. I would think that might have also helped Ethan Dunbar, but he did not get around as much as Fred Love probably did, and what is known of a commodity. And I still think that Hallie Schaffner, which we'll get to that race later, but she speaks rural Arkansas, and I think that helped her out. She was just a better organized campaign. But I think that turnout helped Fred Love significantly in terms of an advantage in the race there.
Governor Sanders, Fred Love, and They will face a Libertarian in the fall as well, Colt Shelby. Colt Shelby previously sued the governor over the special election dates for Senate District 26, and he won, got those moved up to align with the regular primary, and so now that area will have representation during the fiscal session. We talked a little bit about it last week and also on our Tuesday night show, but talk to us about what this could mean for the Libertarian Party getting a potential 3% vote.
Yeah. So every other year, well, first of all, to qualify as a recognized political party in Arkansas, which means you just collect filing fees and your candidates can run. You don't have to go get petition signatures or anything like that. The law says that you have to receive 3% of the vote in the last either governor's race or presidential race, whichever it was. So the Libertarian presidential candidate would have had to get 3% for them to qualify the Libertarians as a political party in Arkansas this time around, and that did not happen. So this time around, if the governor candidate gets 3% of the vote, which would be Colt Shelby, they would qualify as a political party for the next election cycle, and that would, basically think of all the time it takes to go out and collect the signatures, and you got to pull the volunteers together, which is kind of the point of the law. It's like if you can't get 3%, are you even a political party, sort of thing. Just because you say you are doesn't mean that you should automatically qualify, and I think that's why that law is in place. But I'll be curious to see if the Libertarians can pull 3% this time. They've gotten very close before in recent elections. I think they were at 2.9 and some change one time. I thought they were going to get there, but they didn't. But still, this is still a heavily Republican state. The Democratic Party is still very strong. I don't sense there's a huge movement towards Libertarian candidacies in the state, but it's the only way a political party grows is to finally get out there and start making some traction.
Yeah, try and do it.
Yeah.
Anything in particular you're looking for or keeping an eye on with that race in November, kind of what comes next for those candidates, and then also for people keeping an eye on it too?
So Sarah Sanders will have a huge fundraising advantage over Fred Love. She's got money in the bank already. She was able to raise money for a primary, assuming she would get a primary opponent, which she did not. So you get to collect money for that and keep it. And you can roll it over into your general, and she can raise money for the general. Plus, she's an incumbent, and people want to play with incumbents, So she'll have a big fundraising advantage over him. I think the challenge for Fred Love will be, can he get her to engage with him so that she's recognizing him as an opponent? She's going to stay above the fray for as long as she possibly can. Doesn't do her any good. I haven't seen any polling, but I can done enough polling to predict that she would have high name ID and probably a pretty big lead on him if the election were today.
Yeah.
And so he's got to find a way to get more name ID and get more visibility and find some issues that he can contrast with her that are important enough to voters that they will consider him as their candidate for governor. And he's going to probably lob a lot of grenades her way over the next several months, weeks and months. And she probably won't respond to many of them, until she sees something happening that requires it. I could be wrong. She may adopt a strategy of saying, I'll take no prisoners. I'll knock him down every time he throws a punch at me. I just, traditionally, you see incumbents with leads or advantages not mess with their opponents because it just gives them more publicity and more engagement. So, and then again, just on the Libertarian side, can they pull 3% in November? So, but the Fred Love Sarah Sanders matchup, it's advantage Sarah Sanders right now. Fred Love's got to find a way to get her to make him a formidable opponent.
Okay. Let's talk about the U.S. Senate race. Tom Cotton comes out, the incumbent on top for the Republican primary, and he will face Hallie Schaffner, who won the Democratic primary in November. Senator Tom Cotton, almost to be expected that he would win the Republican primary. Hallie Schaffner, as you kind of mentioned, I think has run a pretty well-organized campaign, and she came out on top of the Democratic primary too. But there's some interesting factors, I think, to look forward to and to see in November as well. Hallie Schaffner is a farmer. She comes from, eastern Arkansas, northeast Arkansas, that area. And so she has, I guess, potential name recognition over there too. But also she's going against a lot of things when it comes to farming and running on that platform. She's going against a lot of things that Tom Cotton maybe has previously done while as a senator. She's kind of poking some holes in some things over there, trying to get more of a farmer vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, I'm not going to try to give away too much of the Capitol View show, but I thought the analysis was really good today. Bill Vickery said that, Hallie Schaffner is going to have to contend with being part of the national Democratic brand, which has got a lot of negativity tied to it. Although we are seeing Democrats make some gains because of Donald Trump, another factor that can work for and against Republicans. So kind of a lot going on between now and then. So she can define herself, but she's going to get also defined as being part of that national Democratic brand. And while I think she is a different kind of Democrat, she's connects with rural Arkansas, like you said. She speaks farming and agriculture. That's an important language for a Democrat to be able to speak in this state. But there are other things that the agriculture community or rural Arkansans care about, health care and, how much money they have in their pocket and stuff like that, and some cultural issues as well. So, it's an uphill climb for her, but Tom Cotton's going to have a lot of money in the bank. She's done well on fundraising. She'll do well enough to compete with some messaging. Okay. But again, she's going to have to really find some ways to turn people against him, and he'll have a lot of money to tell his story, which in politics, that's kind of the overwhelming, money tends to win. It
does. The percentage that Senator Cotton came out on top, we talked a little bit about this on Tuesday, about where they play out and where the votes come out in the primary can kind of almost tell you a little bit about how the base is and if he's still connecting with his political base. I think he came out with over maybe 80% of the vote.
82%.
Yeah, so he's the base is good for him.
His base is good. Yeah, no, he will have strength with party unity on that. I think that the Democrats will be united too. Ethan Dunbar made a statement on election night that we're united as a party. So I think he'll throw his support behind her. She won by a comfortable margin too.
She did 78%, I believe.
So that's a strong statement as well. The other thing that we talked about on the TV show today that I think is an important point to make here is, we're in mid-March or almost mid-March right now. The November elections, particularly in the age of Trump, are light years away. There will be so much that will happen between now and what might shape the election or define the election in November that who knows? Like if the election were today, you'd see a lot of Democrats attacking Republicans on high gas prices. I saw $2.99 at the pump today. Yeah. Gas prices haven't been 50, 60 cents higher for a long time. And that was something that the Republicans criticized Joe Biden about during COVID pretty mightily and successfully. And so just between now and November, who knows what we'll be talking about. There'll be so much spaghetti thrown at the wall. I don't know what strands will be sticking. So
a lot will happen. Yeah. We can assure you of that.
So really a candidate has to be flexible and ready enough. You got to have some overarching reasons why you should be elected, but you need to be prepared to grab some issues that may gain more dominance and be prepared to put out solutions and reasons why people should vote for you because of those concerns. And again, we may not know what those are today.
No, that's true. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Another race that we were watching, Representative French Hill won in the Republican primary. He'll face Chris Jones in November, who won the Democratic primary for U.S. House District 2. With that one, Chris Jones does have some kind of mentioned name ID. He ran against Governor Sanders for governor in 2022. French Hill won by a decent margin as well in the Republican primary, and so looking forward to another matchup in November for that too.
And we joked about this today on the show. Chris Jones won with like 94, 95%.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
We were like, those are Saddam Hussein, Stalin numbers there, it's like, did you win the election? Well, I was, popular enough. Putin numbers there, man. 94%, 95% is big. So.
Yeah, for sure. 90, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an
93.
interesting battle. I think, to me, I still look at that race as the thing to watch is, Chris Jones is going to have to excite voters that are not typically turning out to vote, because if the numbers play out like they've been playing out in recent cycles, there's been some good candidates running against French Hill.
Yeah.
That district has been redrawn a few years ago to include more Republican voters and fewer Democratic voters. So, but Joyce Elliott was a strong candidate to run against French Hill, and she had a lot of money. Clark Tucker, who was on the show this week, raised a lot of money, was a very strong candidate to run against French Hill. And at the end of the day, neither one of them were that close. I mean, it was close for a while, but on election day, the margin of victory for French Hill was substantial, and that was in the old congressional district. So Chris Jones has got to activate some more, some voters that are not plugged in, and they could be younger voters, which he will appeal to. They could be disgruntled or disenchanted voters that are ready to change back to independent or Democrat. And again, I think African-American voter turnout will be big. You'll have Chris Jones on the ticket in the 2nd Congressional District, and you'll have Fred Love at the top of the ticket for the Democrats, an African-American candidate, and Hallie Schaffner at the top of the U.S. Senate is female candidate. And those are all strong constituencies for Democratic voters. And so we'll see if they can generate a higher turnout margin than what we've seen in the past. That could be something that makes those races much closer on election night.
All right. Let's move into here in Arkansas again. The Secretary of State Republican primary is going to a runoff.
Yeah.
I'd say pretty close between all three of those candidates. I think State Senator Kim Hammer got to the runoff about 4,000 votes over Judge Kathy Hardin Harrison, and he'll face Brian Norris here in a few weeks too. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but who can get their voters out?
Yeah.
Who can get the people to come out and vote?
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell you from watching politics for years and from previously working in political campaigns, predicting voter turnout in a runoff is just impossible. What you do is you look back at who voted, so you'll have that voter list is public, and you just start contacting them and asking them. I mean, it's a very, very, it's a tough thing to do. You got to inspire them to come back out on when they're not accustomed to coming out. It's like what a runoff. I was ready to vote again in November. No, you got to vote again here. So your diehard faithful will come out and vote for you, but you got to get people way beyond your diehard faithful. You'll also probably see too, and there's not going to be very many, but any kind of county races where there's a runoff is going to be another place to campaign for the Secretary of State candidates, because there'll be some additional reason for people to turn out and vote in those races, because they'll know someone and people will be working them to get to the polls too. And so, but it's just going to be a tough road for both of those candidates. But voter turnout in the runoff election will be pitifully small. So, which, that's just the way it works. So.
Were you at all surprised by, I know we talked about the reasons behind why we had a decently large voter turnout for this primary, but were you surprised by that at all, or were you?
I mean, it's still small. I mean,
right, it is,
when you look at the whole voting population, I mean, what was the final voter turnout percentage?
Like 24,
24%?
I don't remember exactly.
So 3 out of 4 people didn't vote that can. I mean, that's still kind of pitiful, I mean,
not great.
It's nothing to brag about, but I mean, the fact that it was the turnout that it was, I mean, again, you had a lot of competitive races at the top of the ticket in primaries, and not only did you have that Senate race that there needed to be turnout for, and the congressional race that we've talked about, but there was also the Secretary of State's race. There was a land commissioner race in the Republican primary. There was the Supreme Court race that had some political leanings to it. And then on the Democratic side, your top 2 of the ticket, governor and U.S. Senate, had primaries to vote in. And then you throw in congressional too in that one as well. So there were some reasons for some people to get out and vote and turn out. And I would think that just nationally with the climate like it is, there's probably some people that are a little bit more inclined to get out and vote now and start making a statement for let's pick some candidates that can change the direction of the country. So.
Yep, that's the recap. That's the recap. I mean, I think there's a lot more we could talk about when it comes to election, but I think we covered a lot of the big ones. I guess the only other one that I'm thinking of right now, we mentioned it, but Arkansas Supreme Court, Nick Bronny coming out on top in that one too. He had the backing of the Republican Party for the campaign. But, I mean, decently close, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I want to say it was maybe 55, 45, 50-something, 40-something. I mean, like, it was a competitive race.
Yeah, competitive, yeah.
And it didn't really kind of settle in until later in the night when some of the precincts came in. So, but look, they were both good candidates. I mean, we'll have a good Supreme Court justice one way or the other. It's nice that you had two very qualified people running, and respected people. So I like to see competitive races with good candidates.
And I know. There we go.
It's a good one. I know that one of the things I wanted to bring up is just we got the fiscal session coming.
Yeah.
And this last week, the governor presented her balanced budget. It's about $6.8 billion. There is some new growth money in there. Expectation. The curiosity to me is she's proposing to fund the education freedom accounts or school voucher program by about another $194 million, if I remember correctly. And they only were projecting growth of about $192 million. So basically all the growth revenue, if you just settle it all out, is going to go for the education freedom accounts. And she's probably got enough. She'll need 75% vote for all of those. She's probably got it, but she'll have to work for it, to some extent. But they also want to do a tax cut. And so there probably will be a special session after the fiscal session when they set that budget. They'll probably come back. I've seen them do this before. Like, they literally take a day off and come back, or a half day or whatever, and they come back. And they go into special session and just do the tax cut. Maybe there's a few other limited items on there to clean up. I kind of expect that to happen. I haven't really seen it yet that it's going to. But she hinted that she was going to push for a tax cut after the fiscal session, which suggests a special session. And then, and I've heard some legislators talk about, we're going to cut taxes, but not until the fiscal session or I would suppose afterwards.
Yeah, what should I expect as a Capitol reporter here for the fiscal session? I've never covered a fiscal session before. I know I have a few things that we're keeping our eye on, but anything that you think I need to be aware of?
Are you short on sleep? Because I can tell you this will be a good time for you to catch up on some sleep. So there are preliminary budget hearings that started this week, or maybe they start next week. They've started.
Something that happened. Yeah.
They will be kind of going through all of the agency budgets. So a lot of the homework is done already before they come into session. They've just questioned a lot of administration officials and asked about the numbers a whole lot. Doesn't mean that they've agreed on everything. It just means they have a lot more knowledge about what's going on. So when you get into session, you'll see not a ton of questions because a lot of them will have been asked already. And you will see some people that oppose maybe some changes in the budget. And those legislators may get up and say, I object to that, or I want to see more here. Sometimes they're cutting deals with the governor or with their fellow legislators for some trade-offs for some project that might be more important to them for their constituents. So there'll be some stuff like that. I think talk about what tax cuts might be. They have an idea of what they want to ask for. They're just not sharing it yet. The administration and legislators, and they may be different. Might be a 0.2% tax cut, might be a 0.5% tax cut. Who knows? But they have some ideas right now. I know there's been some conversations, but I don't think there's consensus. And but they'll use the fiscal session to build some consensus so that when they come into that special session, it's kind of a done deal. And then the Franklin County Prison is still another thing to me. I did not see any new money for that in the proposed budget for the governor. So does that come up in the in the fiscal session? That's a curiosity
something to watch out for.
Because I think when you look back on election night, not a lot of votes changed that had been opposing it.
Right.
Brian King's still there. Ron Caldwell's still there. I mean,
there's a seat flip in the House. Yeah.
Seat flip in the House now. I mean, so it got tougher to get 75% in both chambers now. So we haven't seen the House vote on it yet.
Right,
so
we haven't.
It never got down that far.
Never made it over there.
So, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But I keep my eye on that as a Capitol reporter. I'd be watching for it. So.
Thank you, Roby, for some insight there.
Well, what can I say?
He's
but
really
I do also encourage you to catch up on your sleep, too.
I will, yeah.
There'll be some sleepy hearings you'll be sitting in. I am looking forward to watching a hearing online just because I'm not going to, and you be in the background nodding off like this.
I don't do that in these meetings, but Roby does send photos of me. He's like, hey.
Hey, smile, you're on camera, so sort of thing. Yeah, watch out. Don't pick your nose. I
think they're doing some renovations over there, so I don't think I will be seated in the place I normally am.
Oh, that's right. You will be in a different seat. They
I'll
have changed the media credentialing process.
Did you get your media credential?
I haven't done that yet. I need to do it. They sent me the form to do it. They told me I'm good. I just got to fill out the form.
Yeah, good. And you passed your check and everything?
I think they told me. They sent me the form. I wouldn't have got the form if I hadn't passed some sort of check.
You got to go take a headshot now, too. Smile.
I might just let you go up there. And, hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing. All right. Just a sleepy little hearing. So.
I can report for Capitol View and talk business as well.
Sounds good.
All
Deal.
Right. Deal.
I call it. All right. You got to take us out with a song. What's it going to be?
Okay, well, we were talking about all of these songs earlier, but I saw MJ the Musical, and so I was listening to a little Michael Jackson.
Well, all right.
I know.
You want to moonwalk out of here?
Nope. I'm going to leave that to somebody else.
Okay.
Maybe Roby. But anyway, yeah. Any other song you want to take us out with?
No, it's your show.
I was humming something that I thought was...
It's your show.
Thank you. It is.
So you get to set the theme music.
I was humming a song.
You want to be starting something? God, that's a Michael Jackson song. We could do that.
Okay.
You want to be starting something?
Why don't we end
Gotta
something?
Be something?
We'll end recap.
I don't understand all of the lyrics of that one. I want to say one more sound of my poo soft. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Bye.